Welcome back. We are in some dire straits right now. You can see the full screen flashing red.
Uh-huh.
Emergency.
What's happening?
The main boiler's cooling unit has been destroyed, so we need to go not make it trigger.
Whatever, just jettison this pod off into space.
I mean, I wish, but, you know, I mean, you could do that, but then there's no game, because then we would just do that. That's it. But anyways, we have 6 minutes to reach.
Wouldn't that solve everything?
That would kind of, but then
just shoot bad Metroid into space, then who cares?
We have 6 minutes to get to the another place, and then it's game over.
Okay.
So, here we go.
Whoa, man, it's not like Metroid's ever put a timer up on the screen and told you to get your ass from point A to point B.
Sector 3, there we go.
This is a hot and fresh gimmick.
Hot and fresh gimmick.
Hasn't every single Metroid ended with wherever you're at self-destructing?
Yeah, but this is like in the middle of the game.
Does this game still end with a self-destruct?
It still does.
Okay, so they just double down on it.
They double down on it, and you're just like, I don't...
Awesome.
Because, like, that's like the weird thing. It's just like, I don't
mind that, but having... Look, I haven't played these games, so maybe I'm full of shit, but it seems like that's kind of played out.
Kind of.
I like a Metroid where you don't have to evacuate the space station under a time limit. Do all the Prime games do that? I'm pretty sure the first one does.
First one, second one, and third.
Oh, boy.
Actually, no, the third one doesn't. The third one just ends with a big boss fight.
Okay, well, that's good.
It's very good.
That's something new. It's original. That's something that's weird about Nintendo games is...
They stay with formula.
They're almost all the same game.
Well, that's the weird... That's the thing I don't like, is they stay with the formula.
Every Zelda is basically the same exact Zelda. It's been A Link to the Past ad nauseum, with like a few twists on that. Like, Majora's Mask is a very, very different Zelda game. But for the most part, it's the same shit. Just go save Princess Zelda, or like get Zelda her powers back, go defeat Ganon, maybe grab the Triforce.
I just took a detour to get that missile tank for no reason.
Every Metroid is just you're on this space station and you got to like get a bunch of power-ups and then the self-destructs at the end.
Yep. Oh, lava hurts! There we go. Alright. Let's...
But, like, so...
Whatever.
I like that and I hate it, because it gets really old with some of these games. Like, what I enjoy about Breath of the Wild is it finds a really good balance between being a conventional Zelda game and being something that's totally fresh for that series.
Yep.
Like, the amount of freedom it gives you to just go and explore the world, how it just sort of turns you loose in the environment is fantastic, but you're still just trying to go save Zelda and beat Ganon. It's the same plot you've had in, like, 50 other fucking Zelda games.
Right.
So, there's certain things to me that's like, if you're not putting this in a Zelda game, it's not a Zelda game, and I hate that. Like, it needs to have the overworld theme at some point. It needs to have the Master Sword.
Well,
You need to go collect hearts to get your heart meter up. And there are certain things that I really love about Zelda that I want in every single Zelda game. And there's things where I'm just like, man, this is the same shit.
I mean, like...
It's weird how I got that balance to it. So, like, with the Metroid game, I bet there's a bunch of people out there who are like, okay, every Metroid has to end with the station self-destructing. Because that's just Metroid.
I mean, like, it's tradition.
Yeah, it's gone so far past it just being a rehashed gimmick to where it is now a tradition.
It's just funny because, like, in Metroid Prime, the first thing, like, you're in that space station, it's like, and, like, the final, like, the Parasite Queen is a recreation of Mother Brain, just in 3D. And then at the end, when you kill the Parasite Queen, a self-destruct sequence happens at the end, like in the beginning of the game.
I wonder how much of Nintendo's desire to just keep playing to what they know is...
There's a dude, we're killing him! Oh, no, it's an actual X.
Just murdered that man.
No, they're all dead.
He turned into a blob.
Yep. Let me... Thank you.
I wonder how much of that is just, like, Nintendo getting really experimental with their games sometimes, just having it not go the way that they want it to. Like, if you look at Federation Force and Other M, those are very different Metroid games, and they are not well received.
Nope.
So, like, what Metroid maybe needs is a more traditional Metroid game, when under normal circumstances, I feel if the last 2 Metroid games were actually good, what people would want is something very different from Metroid.
I think that's what they try to do with the other M, and it just kind of like...
And it backfired.
And it backfired horribly. Well, because it's just like... Like, I think most of the people just didn't like how Samus was super vulnerable. And, like, very... Like, she was very... like, her voice actress... I mean, bless her voice actor. She's a cool chick or whatever, but, like... And she was, like, real excited for the role because she actually, like, knew that, like, oh, this is a big deal, you know? And so, like, I respect that. But at the same time, I think, like, what's the fucker's name? I think Sakamoto? Whatever his name is?
I'm not sure.
The creator of Metroid? Like, he, like, or whatever voice director, they just said, yeah, no, just sound super, like, woody and, like, very, not the cowboy, very, like...
There's a Metroid in my boot.
There's a Metroid in my boot. But very, like, very disconnected. And I think that was, like, lost in translation. Because they're just, like, if you compare the Japanese voice actress, she does a fine job. She does a fine job. And, like, the localization was terrible. Because, like, if you actually looked at, like, the subtitles in the Japanese. And, like looked at that and be like, it's like the Berserk anime. Where, like it was like a raw heap of iron. Quote.
No, so there's a quote in Berserk about his sword being so huge it is almost not like... It's immediately noticeable it's not a conventional weapon. It resembles more a slab of raw iron than it does a sword. Mm-hmm. And it's like a simple 3-sentence quote in the actual manga, but when they did the localization for this 2016 anime, they just kept adding words. So now what was 3 sentences is like...
5.
5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what kind of happened with Metroid Other M. And so, like, if they just had... And I think that was, like, one of the things why now newer localized games seem to have better dialogue. Because, like, if you... Like, in Breath of the Wild, for example, if you just go talk to people naked...
Oh, whoever did the localization of Breath of the Wild is phenomenal. Like, that has got a... I don't know how accurate it is to the Japanese version, but man, it is... great. Like, it's very charming, it's very funny.
Yeah,
everyone feels like they have some amount of character to them, even people you just sort of come across as you're wandering around in the world.
It's great. Like, it's
perfect. That game is bursting with personality, which is so like those huge open world games are things that I don't quite often enjoy because they feel very vapid and soulless to me.
Yeah, like NPCs would say the same
But
thing.
Breath of the Wild doesn't feel that way. It actually feels like they put a lot of soul into that game.
Yeah.
Like, far more than I would expect for that type of game, but also maybe far more than I would expect for most games. So, I'm really digging Breath of the Wild. But, like, part of my thing with Nintendo wanting to go and experiment and do different stuff, they do that all the time. Nintendo's a very experimental company, but they are also so entrenched in traditions. So there's this weird dichotomy of doing something new, but making sure the thing that they're doing is also not too different that people accept it. And I think hardware is maybe where they get the most adventurous, and where they are more comfortable taking risks.
Yeah.
But, like, if you look back at some of the older Zelda games, like, I remember when Majora's Mask came out, there were a lot of people who didn't like that. I don't remember what the critical reception was, but people I know, like, did not like Majora's Mask. I still have a tough time finding people who like Majora's Mask. Wind Waker, I remember very vividly when that came out, people were pissed about Wind Waker. Like, the cartoony graphics made people fucking riot. Like, all they wanted to was, we just want Ocarina of Time again. Just do it like Ocarina of Time. Do it like the Space World demo, where Link is fighting Ganon. So there was a lot back then of just people going like, no, don't make Zelda too different. Just do Ocarina from now until the heat death of the universe.
The heat death of
and
the universe.
And I get it. Ocarina was a great game. Some people would say it's the perfect game. I don't agree with that, but I understand why they would say that. I can see how they would form that opinion. And I respect that opinion. I think it is taking until now for them to finally start doing stuff with Zelda that feels fresh, because there's been so much pushback against doing anything different. until the last few years where people have finally started going like, okay, no, really, you need to do something different. This is getting stale.
Yeah, one of the things with like they had like some Monolith Studios people who worked on it who did the Xenoblade X for the Wii U, which was a huge open world game. So
yeah.
But anyways, we did it. We saved the universe. So next time on Ranking the Metroids, we will continue.
All right, bye bye.
See ya.